Mr. President, I want to speak for a few minutes on the floor to answer the calls that are coming into my office, the texts and the emails that I'm getting from folks saying, what's going on? What's happening in the United States Senate? They can't keep track of what it is that we've moved to. We don't know either. We are here probably all night waiting for the majority to finally produce the bill that they will use to attempt to repeal and maybe replace or not the Affordable Care Act. All we know is that every single proposal that's been brought forward in recent days has two features. It reduces coverage and it raises costs. It may be that 16 million Americans will lose health coverage, might be 20 million, might be 32 million. Those are different scores for different proposed bills. It might raise costs by 15%, 20%, or 30%. Sometime later tonight, you will see the final bill presented on this floor, and hopefully we will get some score so that we will know what we're voting on before we finally get to it. But what is so scary to families I'm hearing from is that after 7 months of majority rule, where the Republican Party controls the Senate and the House and the White House, we don't have a finished bill for us to debate tonight in detail, and we don't yet know exactly what we'll vote on later tonight. We just know a simple theme. Every proposal that's been brought forward, when scored by the CBO, the independent scorekeeper, offers less coverage and higher costs. And folks, I want to remind you about something, because I just ran into a family out on the steps of the Capitol, outside the building, not inside the building. A family that's raising 2 typical children and 1 child with Down syndrome. A family where the father of the family is active duty U.S. military. They asked me, why can't we be heard? The process that brought us here tonight did not include committee hearings, where either doctors or nurses, patient advocates, folks who run hospitals, folks who are specialists in insurance were heard. And in a press conference earlier this evening, 4 of our colleagues said they're going to vote for this bill later tonight so it can go to conference and get fixed. They said that the current expected skinny repeal bill is a fraudulent disaster, to paraphrase a colleague. Well, I really think what we should do is heed the advice that Senator McCain laid out on this floor a few days ago and go back to regular order. Just earlier today, there was an inspiring moment when we took up and passed by a vote of 97-2 the Russia sanctions bill. We heard the chair and the ranking Republican and Democrat of Foreign Relations and Banking Committees speak positively of each other, speak positively of the process, and say the outcome is in the best interest of our country. Well, as we've seen, we don't always follow regular order. Both parties have responsibility for moving things over the years without fully consulting each other and without going through the committee process. I think this is the moment where we should look at what happened earlier today on this very floor and follow that process, where the committees are included and consulted and where we find a bipartisan resolution to what ails America. I'm afraid that's not what's going to happen, and that later tonight we'll be forced to vote for or against a bill that raises health care costs for Americans and lowers the number of Americans that get health care coverage. And if that's the case, this senator will vote no.